Do you realize that on almost everything around us, there must be a label named Made of China? Starting from the gadgets we use, bottles, or even pens. We can find that label literally anywhere. But apparently, it is one of the ways that China uses to counter the United States. But how? Let's figure it out together. Anyway, I'm Komang Yuli Susilawati, and actually, this is a video review of what I have watched before. It is Kishore Mahbubani reveals China's strategy to counter America. Then I took quite interesting points here that I want to share with you. This is based on the past experience when the Soviet Union collapsed against America. And America itself also planned to make China to be the second Soviet. Interestingly, instead of because of the external weaknesses, the Soviets collapsed because of their weak and internal factors. So China has learned from that. And China realized that they needed to strengthen their economic and social dynamics by implementing some strategies that are quite impactful from the roots so that they could survive. The first strategy that China uses is to strengthen its initial foundation, the basic foundation, the core foundation. It is education, which is it's already massively encouraged for its citizens, so it becomes like basic foundation and it can be used for their progressive development in social or even economic growth. And then we move to the second strategy that China uses. It is seen from the previous event too, when America could bring the Soviet down because America was able to get the Soviet neighbors, the country neighbors, to join the America's containment policy. And because of that, China made a preemptive strike against the policy, a rule where China wants to make sure the country neighbors, the country around China, are dependent on China's economy. For example, we'll take it from ASEAN. Ever since the ASEAN was established in 1967, ASEAN used to be known as a pro-Western, pro-America organization. But uniquely, the first country that offered free trade agreement is not from the Western organization, from French maybe, but instead is China. China offered its cheap products to other countries with such good qualities, include our country, Indonesia. There are a lot of maybe like stores that filled with the things come from China, made in China. Offering the cheap products with such good qualities, well, who would refuse? So that's why now ASEAN's products will mostly come from China. And that also relates to the third strategy. Maybe in big cities in Indonesia or even in another country, we often see buildings, company, and it is the China's company. Like it is already widespread in the world. And it is related to the third strategy that China uses, where China is like investing their manufacturing, building companies just as like I've said before, in other countries. And then in this company, China also hired the local humans the local people to be their part of the company. And then also China exports the commodities made by them. For example, maybe trains, highways, like their products are really used in other country because they are okay. They are feeling satisfied, feeling literally feeling okay with the quality that China offers. So, well, it makes the other countries also agree to join the China's policy to cooperate with China. And from there, China plans to take a long-term strategy where China wants to make sure other countries are depending on it to fulfill the needs of each country, so that the collapse of China will not happen that easily because many countries depend on China. In conclusion, China's strategies in this video highlight two things: domestic power and global influence through development. In my opinion, how China has implemented their strategies to counter the US is good to be implemented to other countries. I highlight the part of how China encouraged their people to education, which is education we know it as a basic foundation that can be used for supporting our economic growth, because when our people is educated, then it is easier to support the economy through their ideas, through their works. If we combine work and ideas, then economic growth will be good, will be better. And I think China's strategy is more calculated, more well implemented than the US when they flexible towards the growth. But the Chinese strategy doesn't merely want to replace the US, but wants to be part of a civilizational global order through cultural diplomacy and adaptation of contextual modernity. With a planned strategy, China is confident to survive in the long run without reducing its respect for America. Maybe that's all about my yaps about how China's strategy implemented to counter the US. And I hope this video can help you, can give you some insights towards it. And I'm sorry if there is mistake in this video. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And thank you very much, and see you later.